The following program is a Town of Colonie television production of the William K. Sanford Town Library.
Getting to know you. My name is Joe Nash. Today it's time for our yearly visit with the Pine Bush Preserve, the Pine Bush Discovery Center. We have Executive Director Chris Hawver. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Chris, you've been here many times. You're looking very Executive Director-ish. I think the first couple of times you were here, I think you had more like, you were dressed more like a ranger or something. I don't know.
No, I've probably always had a tie on.
So you've been there, you're just telling me 27 years?
I've been with the Pine Bush Commission for 27 years and the director for 19.
Okay. So as everyone knows, the Pine Bush, 3,300 acres. It has 20 miles of trails. It has hiking, snowshoeing, hunting. And is hunting popular?
Hunting's popular. I mean, the primary hunting that happens is archery for deer, and deer hunting actually helps with, management of the population. Certain areas are open at certain times.
Okay, so it's not one of your main.
No, it's pretty popular, but hunters are in very early in the morning. Yeah. They're out late morning. Okay. So there's usually not, you don't really ever see them.
And there's mountain biking trails, and the Discovery Center has all kinds of events for science for all ages, which we're going to talk about.
Yeah.
But before we get going on that, I just want to ask you, I go up past the Discovery Center a couple times a week.
Yep.
I know that every year you do a burn. I don't know, was there some clearing?
So we're doing,
what I mean? What was going on?
So what we do is, as you know, we use prescribed fire or controlled burns to manage the preserve. This year we've actually managed over 450 acres with burning. We burned 16 times this year, which is really unusual because the weather never cooperates perfectly, and it has. But often before we burn, we mow. And when we say mow, we use a brush hog. So we mow down the material so it reduces everything, and it makes the fire easier to control. Okay. And that's what you're looking at.
Now, what was the reason? It looks like there was more. Was this more than usual? It looks a little clear. It looks, I don't know.
It's because a lot of it's near the road, so you can see it. Okay. So think of the preserve as over 3,000 acres. Only some of it you can see from the road. So that's what you're looking at.
Okay. And then, and of course, I just mentioned before we get going, the Pine Bush Preserve is one of the last remaining pine barren ecosystems, not just in the United States or North America, in the whole world, right? Is that,
right. That's right.
And before we talk about this fall's events, or winter, how was the summer out there? Did you have a lot of crowds?
It was good. The summer. Well, the Pine Bush seems to be popular these days now more than ever, every season. But always good crowds in the summer.
Okay.
A lot of people come to the Discovery Center. A lot of programs going on. A lot of people just come for a walk or hike.
And you recently changed over to almost all your programs are free.
Right. We used to charge a nominal fee, and this year in 2019 we basically waived almost all fees for programs.
Okay. So we're going to talk about some events upcoming, and now some of these may have happened if you're watching this, but there's a couple I want to mention because it'll give you a good example of what goes on there. And the other thing is, I don't think we've ever talked in winter. So
no.
Before winter, what's winter like there?
Winter, well, if you're a recreationist, probably the most popular thing is snowshoeing.
Cross-country skiing.
And cross-country skiing. But snowshoeing has become so popular with people.
I know.
They do that a lot.
The last 3 or 4 years, I know a lot of people are starting to do that.
Yeah. And we run snowshoe programs. We don't do cross-country programs. Okay. We have snowshoes that we provide for visitors when we do a program.
Now, why is snowshoeing so popular these days?
I
know a lot of people that do it.
I don't know. I think it's because it's an opportunity that's fairly easy for a whole family to do and just basically get out and go for a hike.
Okay.
Cross-country skiing, you have more gear, and it's more expensive. Snowshoeing, it's an opportunity for people to get outside.
And this past weekend, I was with some people. They were doing it, and I noticed the snowshoes. They're very elaborate now. They got these
big
grips
cleats,
on the bottom.
Right,
I'm thinking of
right, and they're bright aluminum or plastic, and they're not the old school with the rawhide.
That's it. I know. All right. So one event that's coming up. This will have happened if you're watching this, but it's part of a series. But I'll give you an idea of what they do. You're having a science lecture series, and the one that's coming up this week is actually sold out. So instead of talking about that one event, tell us a little bit about the science lecture series. What kind of this one's on the Ice Age.
Yep.
But as an example of what else is in this series, and what is it, and what do they always sell out?
Well, it depends, and they're usually the third Thursday of the month.
Okay.
Again, free, and we have refreshments there. It's just snacks.
And registration is
required.
Encouraged.
Encouraged.
Yeah.
I shouldn't say required. It's encouraged because then we know how many people are coming. But the science lecture series is something that we started maybe 4 or 5 years ago, because the Discovery Center, when we opened it in 2007. Seven. Wait a second.
Well, this is 2019, if that helps. I don't know.
11 years ago.
Okay.
11. Can't count anymore. When we opened the center, there was a large focus on our family programming, and a lot of family programming was geared towards kids.
Yeah.
Not so much little kids, but middle school, tweens, teens. So there was a lot of feedback from the public where they wanted something more in-depth for science, particularly for adults or older teens. So we started the science lecture series. So we typically will bring in somebody from the outside to talk about all kinds of different topics.
Okay. Well, as an example, this one
change we've talked about.
This one is about the last ice age and how it affected
and created the pine bush.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
So, and I know I don't have the book in front of me. Do you know offhand what are some of the upcoming ones, or what's?
I don't, because our brochure ends.
Okay.
It comes to an end, and our new brochure will come out at the end of December.
Okay. I'll just tell people we always have stacks and stacks of these at the library on the front table with all your events. So I noticed this one tomorrow is sold out. It sounds like you must get good crowds at these.
We do.
Okay.
We do. So in December, we focus a lot towards the end of December on school break week. So we have things in the evening and we have things during the day. So for example, on December 20th, we have a winter solstice hike in the evening that starts at 6. So that's not just for families and kids. It's
now, is that just a hike,
adults.
or is there someone giving a little lecture as you walk, or explaining things?
You have a lecture as you walk, and we'll talk about some of the nocturnal animals that are in the pine bush, and a little bit about the solstice itself and why it happens, and then we have a little campfire at the end.
I was going to say, it ends with a campfire, so you can't beat that.
No, you can't.
And you have several different walks, different ways. You have Wonder Walk, the Wattle Walk,
the Cookie Burner Stroll.
The Cookie Burner Stroll right after Christmas. So what can people expect if they want to go on one of these walks?
Well, so for example, the Wattle Walk is the day after, so it's on Black Friday. It's the day after Thanksgiving, and it's a play on waddling
Yes.
if you've eaten too much or how a turkey would walk. But it gets people out, after you've spent a day feasting, I suppose. And we talk about, things that we might see in the preserve, some of the wildlife, why the preserve is important. Wonder Walk is basically more of a focus on the small things. So instead of just walking and not realizing, just the minute things that you might see, like buds on a shrub or, an insect cocoon or something like that, the Wonder Walk gets really into small things and makes people stop and think.
Okay.
And so it's more of a focus.
So you have, I should say, there's 12 different trails?
12 different trailheads, 20 miles of trails.
Okay, so 12, okay. And all these walks, they all take a different...
Most of the walks that we do in this brochure focus right at the Discovery Center.
Right,
so you might have a little program inside, and then you go outside the Discovery Center. The different trailheads are spread throughout the preserve.
And then one thing you have, I think this is a regular occurrence, is called Discover the Pine Bush. Is that a walk?
Yep. So it starts with an indoor program. We talk about the pine bush, why it's important, what's interesting about it. Then we go out for a walk.
But that's like a regular thing.
We do that very regularly.
All right. So if you go to the website, I know you have a new website, which is very nice. It's Albany, what is it?
AlbanyPinebush.org.
AlbanyPinebush.org. So if you see Discover the Pine Bush, that's probably the best introduction.
It is, and people repeatedly come back to it because they enjoy it.
Well, I mean,
again, it's free.
Different seasons, you would see different things.
Yep.
So one thing you're participating in on Sunday, December 1st, it'll be past when people watch, but it's something to talk about. It's called Museum Store Sunday.
Right.
How did you guys get involved with that? Because museum stores all over the country, in 15 countries, our country, 4 different continents, all these museum shops are all participating this one day. Who brought that together?
I don't know who started it, but it came to our attention. This would be the second year that we've done it.
Okay.
It came to our attention because we have a modest gift shop.
Okay.
And it's all themed. Things that you would see in the Pine Bush: creatures, shirts, sweatshirts, mugs, what you would expect. Even though we're not a museum, people said, why don't you do this? It'd be a way to get people in because there's discounts. There's multiple discounts, and you can see it on the website. So you get people to come to the preserve that may not, and maybe you'd pick up a gift for something for the holidays for your friends or family.
Okay, now that is December 1st, but if you're watching this before Christmas, you can still go. It's open. You guys are open all the time. Right?
Yes, we are open every day of the week. We're closed just a few holidays: Christmas Eve, Christmas, Thanksgiving, New Year's Day.
Okay, so
9 to 4 every day, 10 to 4 on the weekends.
Yes, one of the reasons I said I don't remember talking to you in the winter. Probably a lot of people don't know you're open all year round, do they? Or
some people don't. I think more and more people are. Since the center has been open for a while, we have more people coming than.
So now another event coming up. It opens on December 6th, and it's there until the end of February. You're having a photography exhibit.
Yeah.
So is that pretty big?
That's pretty big. That's very popular. It's a juried photo exhibit. So we ask for submissions. We usually start asking for submissions right after this one ends. We may start in January for next year.
So this is a yearly event?
It's a yearly event. This is the 6th one we've done. So we have 2 professional photographers that have their own company called Nature Logs, and they review all the submissions. We had over 140 this year, and then they narrow it down. They pick the top 3.
Yeah.
And they get a modest award supported by our friends group, and then all those that are chosen, just out of the 140 plus that we've gotten, there's roughly 30 to 35. They're all framed, and they're in our Pine Barrens room.
Oh, okay.
So it's an exhibit that's open from now through basically the end of February.
And then I take it all the photographs were taken in the Pine Bush, right?
All in the Pine Bush. Yep. And they're framed and they're for sale. So you can buy them.
Oh, okay.
And they actually sell pretty quickly.
The originals. There's no copies.
Well, basically what we do is we get them electronically. We have them printed.
Oh, okay.
We mat and frame them.
All right. Oh.
And then we sell them. And they're modestly priced.
Okay.
They're $20, $30.
And I think there's some examples on the website.
There are.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So, and you have a lot of things that probably kids would like, or families. You have several things called owl investigations, and who doesn't like owls? So December 22nd at 1 p.m. or Friday, December 27th, right after Christmas, 11 a.m. or 1:30, so 3 different times. So what is the owl investigation?
So owl investigation it's a fun, and it usually sells out. So people
all 3. Okay.
Yeah. So if people are watching, they should register.
Okay.
On the website. Again, it's free. So we do a program and talk about the owls that are in the pine bush, that are native to the pine bush. Could be a screech owl, could be a great horned owl, could be a barred owl. And then we actually do owl pellet dissection. So owl pellets are, it's called casting. So birds of prey like owls and hawks and some shorebirds, I think, basically regurgitate undigestible material, fur, bones, things like that. When they eat it, when they eat a mouse, and then so you can actually buy these from scientific warehouses, and they're dry, they don't smell. And we dissect them, and we try and identify what did the owl eat.
Oh, okay. Now
it's a.
Now do the.
I was going to say it's a hoot. That was not intended.
Now, do you have to? Is it dependent? Are the owls in one spot, or you just got to hope they show up, or how does it? How do you make sure?
We actually go out and we look for owls and owl signs like pellets. Not often do we find them, but we have the pellets for dissection when we come back.
All right. So, but you usually at least can see some.
Yeah.
Hopefully. Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Hopefully.
All right. So, and another thing you're having on December 28th, a Saturday at 1 p.m. It's called Feisty Fishers.
Oh, yeah.
You're going to go out and look for. Now, I did not know this. What is a fisher?
So a fisher is a large mammal that's in the weasel family.
Okay.
So
that's
head to tail is probably this big from backside to head, and probably this big around.
And they're part of the weasel family?
They're in the weasel family, very big, smaller than an otter, but bigger obviously than a weasel.
Really?
Nocturnal. Pretty aggressive predator. They eat a lot of different mammals, small mammals, birds, frogs.
I never heard of a fisher.
So we go out and we'll look for tracks, fisher tracks, maybe scat, but we do a whole program talking about fish because you don't see them commonly, but they're not uncommon. But since they're nocturnal, we do pick them up on our cameras, our wildlife cameras, which is always interesting.
So. Would they be out during the day? This is at 1 p.m.
No,
all right.
No, we just talk about it, but we would go out if there's snow. You might be able to see fisher tracks.
So, and do you have, from your cameras that are stationed, do you have a little thing where you show what they might look like, or?
We would show it through. We have a slideshow. We would do that in the beginning.
Okay. Now that sounds pretty interesting, actually.
Yeah. People used to refer to them as fisher cats. So people say, are they a cat? They're not a cat.
So when you went, how much do they weigh?
Oh, I don't know.
I mean, they sound.
I would say they probably weigh around 20 pounds.
Really? Okay. All right.
So probably 12 to 20 pounds.
All right. So for most of these programs, you do encourage registering online. One thing that you can do, maybe you can explain how this works. For any of these programs, you can bring a group. That you encourage 8 or more. How does Now, would they just join the regular program, or do they get their own little program?
They would have to register. They would have to contact us in advance. So if you have a group, you would contact us in advance and indicate that you're a group and what you're interested in.
So they would get their own little thing, or would they join the?
They could, yeah.
Oh, okay.
So, for example, use an example of a Girl Scout group or a Boy Scout group. They would contact us and say, we have a group of 12 scouts and 2 leaders, and we'd like to have a program. Can we do that? What do you suggest?
Oh, okay.
And our education staff would suggest.
All right. So you have a whole. That's right. You do have a whole education staff, and that's on the webpage. Now, how popular are these little group tours or whatever?
They're popular. They're very popular. We do a lot of programming. So we do these specialized groups.
Yeah.
We do the family programs that are in here, and then we do school programs.
Oh, okay.
So easily we run 30,000 people through the Discovery Center a year through programming.
Okay.
Well, not just program, I shouldn't say that. Through programs and then visitation.
Okay, now one way people can get involved, you have a thing here where I'm trying to make sure I get this right. You have it's called community service or community science.
Community science.
Well, so people can help you guys survey, I guess, the population of different animals. So they help you collect data of woodcocks, bumblebees. I don't know how you would count bumblebees, but you could. But you have nighthawks, frogs. I think I wrote them all down. Snowpack, whippoorwills, and of course butterflies and birding. Snowpacks. Okay. So how do people? They help you actually survey. How does that work?
So. For example, let's talk about Frog Watch. Frog Watch is a national program for citizen science or community science, where normal people in the community, without science background, we'll teach them how to collect the data that we're looking for, and then they submit it to us. So for Frog Watch, there was a training for that. Snowpack volunteers, same thing. So you check the snow depth and how much snow you're getting in your backyard, living within a certain area of the pine bush. So we're trying to figure out, snowpack, snow depth, because snowpack is really important for insulation for a lot of species that live in the preserve, especially things like butterflies.
Oh, okay.
So if you look online for upcoming programs, there's training for community, not just training, but opportunities for community science.
All right. So people, and then they go off on their own if they want to?
Yep.
Oh, all
yep.
right.
Could be in their own backyard, or for example, for nighthawk. Nighthawks are these large hawks that migrate. So people will gather, say, in our parking lot at the Discovery Center with spotting scopes or binoculars, and you'll have dozens of people lined up, and they count. And they're counting nighthawks flying over. And they also do that in different spots.
Right, so how would they count those? Would they get counted more than once, I would think?
No.
How does it work?
No, they're trained to identify them and count them.
Oh, okay. So that sounds like that'd be pretty interesting.
It is. It's popular. People, if people feel like they're adding to scientific data, which they are. They're giving back to their community. They're learning something. And if they have children, they're getting the kids involved in something that's interesting. And you're off the phone. You're off the screen.
It seems like people are trying
outside.
I feel a lot of people are trying to get away from all that more these days.
Seems so. Sometimes we wish we all could, I guess.
So all these things are on the website. We have these. These will be here at the end of December for upcoming.
Yep.
So one more thing we could talk about. Your friends group has a thing called the 20-mile challenge, which involves all your 12 trailheads.
Right.
Talk about that.
Sure. So our friends group, they're called Friends of the Pine Bush Community. They're a nonprofit. Everything they do supports our work, either habitat work or education or recreation. So they started this new program called the 20-mile challenge. So it's, a lot of places have done things like this. We had a conversation earlier about 46ers who hike all 46 high peaks in the Adirondacks.
Yes.
This is a little easier. So you hike 20 miles in the preserve, and you have this brochure where you can fill out, when you did it. It's on the honor system, and it's basically an opportunity again for families, people to get outside. You bring it into the Discovery Center, and you get a small token and a small prize.
And I'll just tell people that these are a various. Some are 1 mile.
Yeah.
There's actually one that's 3.7.
Yep. That's right.
2.3, 1.8, 0.7. So you got various lengths. There's one that's only 0.2 miles.
Yep. That's an easy one.
That's like Mount Joe up at Isn't that the little one?
Yeah, up by the Adirondack.
That's like the smallest.
80K.
So, but that seems like they are. Other than that one, they're all actually a nice little walk. It looks like they're all a mile or longer, and you got those two.
Yeah, and if you look on our website, when you go on our website, for donate, when it says donate, it goes right to the Friends group. It doesn't come to the commission.
Okay.
Ultimately, it does, but the Friends. They're the nonprofit. The funding goes to them. You can join them.
All right. That has to do with what? You guys are
We're a public benefit corporation,
so
which
there's all kinds of rules, right?
And an authority. We're a public authority.
Okay. Well, Chris, it's nice to talk to you again. It sounds like, as usual, a lot going on. Again, these will be in our library. They actually go pretty fast, because you always bring us a nice big box of them. So a lot of events for all ages, get outdoors, and this is the time of year after holiday festivities. That's a good word. So thanks for coming, and
thank you.
We will see you next time on Getting to Know You.